Welcome everyone to Inside Artesian Football here on WREP 15 Sports, which is owned and operated by the MSD of Martinsville and the MHS Rewind YouTube channel. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined as always by head coach Carter Whitson. It's a happy Coach Carter Whitson as they come away with a big-time win over Bedford North Lawrence in your opener, 40-7. Had to be happy with the way the kids played.
Yeah, absolutely. How we came out and we didn't score on the first possession. Very similar to last year, but then we got some momentum going and really kind of turned it on, hit some big plays, which is what we're going to need all year. And our defense played extremely well, like we expect and like we need them to do all year.
Big plays, like you said, on offense, both out of the running game and out of the passing game. Yep. Really that balance that you're trying to look for.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have touchdowns over 50 yards from football, from running and from passing is awesome. Tyler Cox, we thought it was going to be about a 20-yard run, and then he hit the afterburners and had a 77-yarder, so that was awesome. Seeing Andy Myers and Matt Thomas make those big plays out in the open field, you're going to see it all year, and we hope to see it even more and more each week.
When you talk about offense, most of the time that's what people's eyes are drawn to during the game, and obviously you put up a lot of points when you had the opportunity to put up points in that contest, but you touched on it too. That defense played really well on Friday night.
Absolutely. When they get us the ball back on 3 and out and we're back right on offense and we're rolling and then we'll tempo people, it's always pretty fun for us to do. Those guys have been working their butts off all summer, and the coaching staff has a great plan each week. Those guys work extremely hard, extremely long hours to get our kids prepared, and it showed up Friday night.
Able to put 34 points on the board in the first half of play, and then on the opening series of the second half, you guys get a blocked punt recovered by Jacob Burkett in the end zone. That puts you at 40. That automatically triggered the new rule, the running clock rule, as you're shaking your head already. We aren't governed by the Big Ten or Pac-12 or whatever it may be, so I don't think you're going to get fined by everybody. But I know you just love that running clock rule and the mercy rule, don't you?
Yeah, I'm not worried about getting fined. I don't have any money, so they can't fine me. It's just a really bad deal. I get the whole goal of it was for player safety, but there's so many negative factors that I don't think they thought through. I didn't get a bunch of kids to play on Friday night, and they worked all summer. And I couldn't get them reps in the second half because the clock was going. And, the referees, it's the first time they're doing that. They screwed up even the running clock. So there are a lot of negatives. I've been complaining about it all week, hoping that they'll, look at it again and maybe fix it in the future. But, it's going to kill recruiting. It's going to kill attendance. Your numbers are going to go down. It's just an overall really, really bad decision that they've made and they're enforcing on us.
You guys had to play in that. You got to it, like we said, you get 40-7 when you were in Oklahoma and playing down in Texas as well. Did they have the running clock, the mercy rule? How did they handle that?
I don't know anybody else that does.
Yeah.
I assume that we're not the first ones, we're not the innovators of it, but nothing that I've ever been, a part of. Yeah, that's what I say. Like what I did before this, I was the director of recruiting. If you're recruiting a kid from Indiana and you're recruiting a kid from Texas, and they're pretty similar in their film, well, one of the things you look at is their stats. Well, if Xavier Tonitis only gets to play 2 quarters and the kid down in Texas gets to play 4, you're going to have better stats, right. And that's gonna help him out and get exposure. So, I don't know. I just don't think they thought it all the way through.
Well, you're able to get to it at least. On the flip side of that, you guys played very well offensively and defensively. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights. Our highlights cut down a little bit as well because the second half of play went through it, but let's go ahead and roll some of those highlights from the contest on Friday night.
Yeah, so we go 3 and out on offense, and then first drive for us on defense is a shutdown, pin them. They ran their veer like they wanted to on the first few plays, and we were ready for it, prepared for it, really good at our assignments and trusting our teammates. And like you will see all year, like we talked about even last week, you'll see about 6 or 7 dudes in red jerseys, or if we're wearing white on the road, tackling somebody. Here we go. This is a Coach Rob Helm special. He called this one right here. We had a little quick motion and then got a little counter action with Tyler, getting Tyler Cox out in the open field, and he's always dangerous when that happens. Now we're to the air. Okay, we're to the air, going deep. Andy Myers can run by a lot of people. We should have had a touchdown earlier that drive on a long one that Matt Thomas should have scored on. So it's always good to see those explosive plays. We talked about it each week, the turnover battle. right there. Weston Pemberton forces a turnover, and Billy Bias picks it up. That's awesome stuff right there. Here's Will Nix starting a linebacker playing on offense also, running the power right there. It kind of gives us a little bit of a different run game each time him and Pemberton are in the game. Here's a little draw action right here again for Nix or Pemberton. It's kind of hard to always tell which one of them they are because they both run like each other, and they're both big old kids. And then we get a little tricky on them. We go with a little reverse, and Matt LaFerry kind of walks into the end zone and then gets smoked by his own teammate Jackson Kleesner, which if you want to watch the end of a play, look at 55. He's usually finishing somebody, and he has relentless effort. There we go on defense again with the screen and the corner coming up on a crack replace. It's always good to see corners make tackles in the open field. Here's some sacks right there. Malachi Pringle was all over the place in his first start, and then Jackson Kleesner again playing both ways was awesome. Here's 81, again, 4-year senior, making some plays. Was really mad at himself. He didn't get in the end zone, but had a really good game, and we'll continue to see a lot of big things out of him all year. Back to the inside zone, going some tempo, doing what we do, going right at people. I thought our big guys up front did a great job. We had a rotation of probably 7 or 8 guys without a start. We had a starter out, but those guys played really well and gave us a chance. And there you go, a little celebration, a little excitement. Those guys are playing hard. Bedford's going to be a good football team. We just had their number that night, and here we go. We get some turnovers, we get some fumbles, we get some interceptions. It's always pretty good. We had a handful of guys create turnovers and a handful of guys come up with them. There's Andy Myers again on just a go ball. We weren't calling any trick plays and trying to run up the score. We were just running our offense, and Andy makes a great play when their corner falls down and Xavier threw a great ball, and a lot of good protection up front with the running back and the O-line. And here we go. Here's the 77-yarder by 28. There's about 3 dudes right there that have an angle on him, and then the afterburners kick in, and that's why he's on our 4x1 relay every year, and he's a fast kid, so we love seeing him in the open field. Here we go. Here's our first interception right there. Adam Field in his first start comes up and makes a great competitive play. We got to teach him how to not get smoked like that afterwards. We all joked around about him and Jason Cox's interception returns, but getting the ball back from defense is awesome. Right here, James Hicks. James Hicks has the quarterback. He makes the quarterback pitch and still tackles the running back. Again, a senior that is starting his first game and playing really well. So we're excited about James Hicks. There's a sack, and then I thought we had a scoop and score 6 points right there from Darius Cook. We a little lesson there. He ran around it, and that guy came and jumped on it. But then the next play, they punt, and Jalen Napasa gets a big paw on it, punt block, and then I want to say Jacob Burkett.
Yep.
Jacob Burkett picked it up, scored, or fell on it in the end zone, getting points. Again, without the offense being on the field,
right.
Points. That's, you can't ask for that. But for our guys to do that, they did it last year. For our guys to start off this year doing that is always really exciting.
And like we said, that triggered the mercy rule right there. Clock kind of ran. The officials had some issues, like you said, getting the clock right.
Yeah.
I think they ran it when they weren't supposed to. So that second half of play, I think, was actually less than the halftime to get through it. But as a result, you guys still come away with a 40-7. Despite all that, you had to be really happy, like we said, with the way that the kids performed there in the first contest.
Yeah, we were happy, but that's a good point. I didn't think about the TV show, how we got shortened on highlights.
Yeah, no.
So they're killing it in a bunch of different
every
ways.
way.
So don't like that. But yeah, we were happy. We got out healthy. We're getting healthier this week. We got some guys back that didn't play a whole lot. So week 1, that's what you want to get. You want to get better. You obviously want to win, but you want to stay healthy and start preparing for conference, start preparing for a playoff run.
And we talked about it, too, a little bit, how the passing game, the running game really did well in contest, a good mix. You mentioned Xavier's stats a little bit, and the fact that probably if you don't have the running clock, he's going to get even more stats than what he did. But he threw the ball really well in his first game. I knew you guys kind of expected that out of him. People around the program kind of anticipated that was going to happen as well. And those stats could have been even more. Like you said, he had a few balls that were dropped. So had to be great to see him in his first varsity start play so well.
Yeah, he's got a really talented arm. But the best thing that he's got going for him is guys up front that'll fight, and then guys outside that can make plays. We'll throw some stuff where he throws the ball on the line of scrimmage and it still might go 60 yards. So that looks really good for stats, but he's got great teammates that make plays for him. He takes care of the ball. He had a great first start. We expect big things from him.
Like you said, a great first start for him. Great first start really for the guys on the outsides as well, receiving wise. And Andy Myers, I know you looked at the stats going into the game. I think Andy had 16 or 19 catches last year maybe for 300 and some yards in 3 games and 3 touchdowns. What does he get, 2 or 3 this time? 2 touchdowns, another 100 yards. So just another day at the office for number 31.
That's right. Yeah, we need him to stay healthy and need him to keep doing that. Obviously, Andy had a big game, can make those huge plays out in the open field. But, without him playing a whole lot his junior year, he didn't get a whole lot of exposure. People don't necessarily know about him. Now, I know, Bloomington knows about him because they saw him, and he had a great game versus them last year, week 2. So he's not going to be a surprise to those guys, but everybody else didn't play against him last year. And as a sophomore, he was basically playing safety. So it's good to have a newcomer that's been around for 4 years.
And we talked about Ty Cox as well, and you expected some stuff out of him, his little wiggle, little speed, and he showed it off again on Friday night.
Little water bug, that's what we keep calling him. He's awesome in the open field. He's doing a good job. He's starting to get more physical when he runs. He's getting better at pass protection. He's trying to become an all-down back instead of just the guy that needs it out in open space. So really excited about him. Again, as a junior, too. We got him back for another year next year. So Tyler's doing great. The O-line gives him a chance. The other running backs, give him a chance. And the wide receivers block in. It was a really good offensive unit Friday night.
Really good, especially on the line. And we talked about the defense, really kind of focused a little bit on the linebackers. Those are the guys that coming back this year had a lot of the stats, really expected a lot of things out of them. Heavy hitters, and it was hard to tell on Friday night who got the tackle. Just so many red shirts like you talked about around the ball.
And we love that. And again, we're going to rotate a bunch of guys in. We're going to get some depth on the defensive line, some depth in the secondary and the linebacker. So I thought Malachi Pringle, I mentioned his name in the highlights. I thought he played a great game in his first start. Obviously, Jacob Burkett creating some turnovers, scoring on a turnover. You expect that out of a 4-year starter like Jacob Burkett, but those are just a few guys, again, a part of a great unit that are playing well together, and they don't really care about the individual accolades.
They'll try this weekend to continue as you will battle your rivals, Bloomington South, coming up on Friday night down at Fred Huff Field. So let's talk a little bit about that contest with the Panthers. Last year, you guys get the win in the regular season, really in pretty handy fashion. You mentioned Andy Myers. He had a great game in that contest before he was injured for the majority of the rest of the season. You go down to their place on sectional in the sectional championship, and they end up coming away with the win in double overtime. And so I know you guys, your kids remember that, and you guys are looking for some payback coming up on Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can say it's a rivalry game. You can say it's revenge. Really, we're trying to get 1 week better. You need to improve a lot from week 1 to week 2. And we obviously want to get this one. They got us in the playoffs last year when we felt like we didn't play very well. They did a great job of being patient as a coaching staff last year in the sectional championship because we jumped out on them, but then they came back. So, they do a good job down there. We're excited to get down there again. I thought it was awesome last year. We didn't talk about it after the season, but one of the things I was most proud of in my time here is the crowd that we had down in Bloomington last year for the sectional championship. You couldn't have fit another butt in the seats of our visiting stands, and they had about 150 people in theirs. It just shows you what this community is about and the support they have for their kids. We're going to need that again because this is a good football team we're going to see Friday night.
And they'll be out there, I'm sure. They're packing up the fan buses. The fans are excited to get down there to Bloomington and kind of see that rivalry that's been long-standing here at Martinsville really start to heat up and ramp up once again. And like you said, South's got a good football team this year. They've gone through a couple of years where they've had some kids maybe that hadn't always fit the South mold, if you will. I think they got some of that stuff taken care of, and now they've got a senior-laden ball club. They're strong, they're fundamentally sound, and they'll be ready for you guys coming up on Friday night.
And very similar to everybody else we'll see throughout the year, they're big. They're bigger than us. They know their system. Coach Mo does a good job down there. The kids are now, he's got his kids in there. He's not having the troubles that he's had in the last few years. They're going to be a really good team. They got a good week 1 win against Castle, who they'll see probably in their sectional championship game. And then they play a tough schedule all year. So, we're anxious to see, how they prepare for this game since we won't see them in sectionals, see if they open it up a little bit more. I know we jumped out on them last year, kind of starting in the second half and really put on a good show. Don't expect it to be a blowout either way. this will be a hard-fought team from, two teams that play hard, stop the run, make people work for points.
Let's talk a little bit about what we'll see out of South coming up on Friday night. We'll start on the offensive side of the ball. Mo's always had a good offense. He's done what he's done for several years. Can you talk a little bit about what we'll see on Friday out of the Panther offense?
Yeah, it starts up front. They're really good offensive line-wise. That's what Coach Mo coached. That's what he still coaches, even though he's not the O-line coach. That's what he coached at IU. They always do a really good job of running the ball, pass protection. So it starts with those guys, which helps their tailback out. Tailback's a 3-year starter, fast, dynamic player. They've got a tight end that's a Division I recruit that they're going to try and get the ball to some different ways. They've got a 4-year starter at slot receiver. And the outside guys, they kind of got a rotation of guys that can make plays. Guys that, the kid that caught the double overtime touchdown is back. So they're a very senior-led team. Veterans, they know what they're doing. They know their system. They're not going to be anything crazy flashy. They're just going to be solid, and we just got to make sure we play assignment football.
When you look at them on the defensive side of the ball, kind of a 3-4 at times, they'll lock up guys on the outside, kind of give you a 52 look, if you will. What are we going to expect to see out of them on Friday night?
You got a little football knowledge right there. That's not just
that's a long time being around.
Right there.
That's a long time being around.
Yeah, we'll see an odd front. They'll have a big nose tackle standing right over the center. 2 DNs right over the tackles that sometimes pinch inside, and then they're overhang linebackers, so it is kind of almost like a bare front with 5 guys down, 2 middle linebackers, and then they'll play mainly a cover 4 or cover 3 coverage in the back, which is what you'll see whenever our team's mainly out there on defense too. But they're really good defensively. They give you fits. They're funky. They can come from all different directions. This is a really good game for us to see because the next few weeks we're also going to see an odd front. Even Greenwood's gone to it. That's what Decatur does. That's what Whiteland does. So it'll be good for us to see. It's not what we saw all summer, and it makes us call some different plays. But they're solid, they're good, and they're big.
What are you guys going to have to do then? I know we're going to get me the cliche here with win the turnover battle. We'll see if we handle it, but what do we got to do key-wise to win the game?
Beyond the cliches that I'm going to say for 15 weeks, we're going to have to have some big plays. We got to get the ball to our cats out there on the outside that are dynamic football players, whether it's straight verticals or whether it's some different ways. We're going to get the ball in their hands and see if they can go make plays. We got to be patient too. That's one of the biggest things with this defense is they're a bend but not break defense. They're relatively aggressive, but more what they're doing is they're going to try and confuse you so your kids can't be aggressive. But they're pretty good. We gotta score on some big plays. We got to spread them out, make them work, and be quicker than them.
All right. Should be a fun one down there on Friday night. We'll see you there.
All right.
That's Artesian head coach Carter Whitson here inside Artesian football. Get down to Fred Huff Field, ride the fan bus, whatever, hitch a ride, get down there and watch the Artesians and the Panthers do battle the rivalry back on Martinsville and Bloomington South on Friday night.
Yeah, you got Dr. Sears taking the bus down to students, taking them to Buffalo Wild Wings. So get on the bus, get down there, have some fun.
All right. Be there, Coach. We appreciate you joining us. We'll see you there this week.
Thanks.
Artesian head coach Carter Whitson here inside Artesian football. Like we said, Martinsville, Bloomington South coming up. If you can't get down for some reason, tune in to MHS Rewind YouTube Live. You can watch us streaming the game as well as we try to bring you another Martinsville Artesian victory. As always, I'd like to thank the head coach Carter Whitson for coming in. For Coach Whitson, along with Zane Spangler, who produced it, I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Artesian football.